Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, maybe even good night, depending on where you are. This is Crime Intel Report, and I'm your host. The channel got its name from the fact that I am an intelligence operations veteran, and I also am a paralegal with 20 years of experience specializing in criminal defense and criminal appeals. I started the channel because I've been watching YouTube videos on true crime, and what I have found is that there are some inaccuracies, which I'm sure are inadvertent, but nevertheless, I would try to leave a comment to correct them, and me being me, my comments ended up being book size. You and I both know nobody's going to read those comments, so I decided, why not do it the easy way? Make a channel. I can just talk, and you can, leave comments, and we can talk back and forth, and I just think that would be much better. I would like to start off with one very simple thing I have seen here on YouTube, and that is the word psychopath or psychopathy. A lot of people seem to think that that means just, murdering everywhere and serial killers, etc., things like that. It's really not. A psychopath, or the word psychopathy, which refers to the action of being a psychopath, basically, are basically legal terms. They're not medical terms. They're not in the DSM. I would describe it as sociopathic personality disorder on steroids, but there's even more to it than that. A psychopath does not think like a normal person. I don't even consider psychopaths to be truly human because they lack a conscience. And the conscience is what differentiates us from the animals. Furthermore, a psychopath does not know how to act like a regular human. And as a result, they mimic the behavior of other people. So, for example, you may see someone who is pretending to cry, but there are no tears. We see that a lot. You may see someone who is just generally, they seem very off. Your instincts pick up on it, whether your brain does or not. You usually do know. Trust your instincts, folks. Believe me on this. Now, the expert on psychopathy is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Robert Hare. He created something called the psychopathy checklist years ago. I actually knew about it before it came to fruition because I had received an invitation to answer a questionnaire, and it was very long and very detailed. And I received that because I worked primarily in criminal defense. I did fill it out. Took quite a while, but a lot of people filled it out. It wasn't just me. Attorneys, psychiatrists, people who would deal with or potentially deal with psychopaths were sent this questionnaire. Now, getting back to the crying without any tears and how we see that, the one person who is being talked about popularly on YouTube right now, and you see this with them all the time, is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Gypsy, of course, is known for having murdered her mother, and she got out on parole about a year and a half or so ago. She had a reality show. She I did a bunch of interviews. One of the very first things out of her mouth was, I don't identify as a murderer. Well, sorry, but that's what you are. Nothing can ever change that. I found that a very strange thing to say, and it caught my attention immediately. Now, if we're on the subject of psychopaths, let's talk about Gypsy. Gypsy, of course, murdered her mother. She claims that she was not involved, but there's evidence suggesting otherwise. She claims that she just talked to someone and said, "Hey, will you kill my mom?" And this mentally ill man said, "Oh, sure, why not?" That's not what happened. I will discuss Gypsy in much more detail in a later video. I have a pretty good idea of what actually happened. I have a pretty good idea of why it happened. And I have a pretty good idea of what we can expect from her in the future. Now, the gentleman who she accused of committing the murder is a man by the name of Nicholas Godejohn. He got life in prison without the possibility of parole. I'm not saying he shouldn't be there. I'm just saying there are a lot of questions about what actually happened that night, starting with her claim that he locked her in the bathroom when everyone with a bathroom knows that the bathroom locks from the inside. So it's all a mess, but I have done quite a bit of research into it. So have a lot of other YouTubers. They even went so far as to get her emails from when she was in prison. That was kind of interesting. I would consider Gypsy to be a psychopath for many, 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 many reasons, not just the crying with no tears part. Now, she's gotten to the point that she knows that if you're mimicking someone who is crying, actually crying, you're going to wipe away tears. Now, we see news reports because she goes to TMZ and whomever to get attention. And she has learned to do that, to wipe away the tears. But there aren't any tears actually there, like ever. Unless she's talking about herself. I read one headline, Gypsy bawls her eyes out over the death of her mother. Well, no, she actually didn't, because there were no tears. And she also killed her. So you're getting no sympathy out of me, TMZ or whoever wrote that headline. I find it very problematic that people like Gypsy are being given so much attention and have become somewhat celebrities. Now, a celebrity suggests that we are celebrating. What exactly are we celebrating here? Are we celebrating the fact that a woman was murdered? Are we celebrating her murderer? I mean, come on, people. None of this makes any sense. Social media companies need to do much, much better. They need to ensure that our children are not being exposed to someone who did something like that. It's my understanding that a couple of girls, teenagers, were possibly somehow inspired to kill their own parents because they knew about Gypsy and her, we'll call them shenanigans. At any rate, I'll discuss Gypsy in a lot more detail in another video, probably the next one that I make. But in the meantime, I wanted to come on here and introduce myself, let you know what I'm all about. give you an idea of the types of things I'm interested in discussing on this channel. And if you're interested in hearing it, by all means, please click the like button, hit subscribe. I heard a rumor that there's something called hype. I've seen it on one person's channel, but that's the only place I've seen it, so I don't know what that's all about. But if you can hype it and you like what you are hearing, then please click hype also. And of course, as all the YouTubers say, don't forget to click that notification bell. So, be one of the cool kids. Click that notification bell. And I'll see you back on here hopefully very soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.